Hi everyone. Today I'll be covering how to use date filters in the WebQuery Report Writer module. Date filters can be added to your WebQuery reports to limit the report results to a specific time period. I have a simple report already set up to show invoice numbers and invoice dates so you can see how the report will be affected by the date filters. I'm using demo data, so my data is current through April 2019, and I want to see all invoices invoiced in March 2019. Let's add a date filter to this report. Click the Filter button in Report Options. I want to filter this report by invoice date, so let's choose Invoice Date under the Filters to Add list. A second list opens where we can choose the operator to apply our date. In the Report Writer module, there are 3 different types of dates you can add to a report: dynamic dates, static dates, and comparison dates. In the operator selection, all of the dates will work with static dates, and some will work with all 3 types. Let's first add a static date. Static dates are simply manually entered dates or date ranges. These dates will not automatically update over time. Static dates are good to use if you need to filter on an unusual time period or are manually running a report. Since static dates can be used with all of these operators, we can choose any option that works for the time period we want. For this example, let's try is between. 2 text boxes appear to enter the date range. Let's add dates for March 2019. You can either manually type in the values or use the date picker. Once you have your dates selected, click the Add button to enter your date, then click the OK button to close the filter. Now let's run our report. As you can see, our report returned all dates for March 2019. This method works well, but what if you want to schedule this report and have the dates automatically update every month? You don't want to continually update these dates manually every month. Let's go back to our date filters. Scroll back to the top of your report and click Report Options to open up the Report Options section. Click on Filters, and let's remove this date and add a new date. Again, we want to filter for invoice date. This time we want to add a dynamic date instead of a static date. Dynamic dates will automatically update daily and always represent the time period selected. Dynamic dates are available under the is not, and the greater than and less than options. I'm choosing the is date option. As you can see, there is a text box if I wanted to add a single static date, but right underneath that is the dynamic date option. Dynamic dates are grouped by months, days, quarters, weeks, years. And under the year option, you do have fiscal and calendar. Same with quarters. You have the fiscal and calendar. But in this case, I want to use last month. So I'm just going to type last and month in my search box, and you can see that my results were limited to only those selections that have last and month in the name. And just scroll down till you find the one you want. I'm going to choose months last month. Click that. Again, then click the Add button to add my filter and OK to close my filter section. Now notice the invoice date filter that we have has translated what last month is. Each month this date will update and be translated to what last month is, so I don't have to edit my reports each month. It'll always have the correct date range. If we run this report, we should return the same data that we saw in the last report. Now let's expand on this and include other date filters. this time using a comparison date. In this example, I want to run this report to show me all invoices invoiced last month where my invoice date is greater than my required date. In other words, all of the invoices that were shipped late last month. Let's go back to filters on the report. We'll leave the first filter that we have for invoice date of last month because we still want to limit the range of invoices to last month. But now we want to add another filter to only include those invoices where invoice date is greater than required date. So again, type in invoice in my search filter, click on invoice date, then let's select is greater than. You'll see the same three options we saw the last time. The bottom option is comparison date. And here is a list of all of the dates that can be used to compare against the invoice date. For this, I'm going to choose required date. Again, click my add button to add my filter, and then my OK button to go back to my report options. Now let's run this report and see what it returns. As you can see, my report this time is limited to only returning those invoices where the invoice date is greater than the required date. Maybe we want to expand on this even more and include only late invoices for newer customers. Let's try and include only invoices for customers created within the last 60 days. Let's go back to filters again. And let's add a filter for date created customer. This time, let's use is greater than and select a dynamic date of days 60 days ago to limit our report to only those customers created within the last 60 days. Click the Add and OK button, and let's run this report again. As you can see, now our report is even more focused to only include invoices from last month that were late for new customers. Since we use dynamic dates on this report, if we wanted to schedule it, it would always represent the time period that we have selected without us making changes every month. There are a wide array of dynamic dates that are included in WebQuery, but if you find that there is a specific dynamic date range that you need for a scheduled report and it isn't available, please let us know. Most date ranges can be added as a new selectable dynamic date option.